Well, good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben.
So you've raised yourself up so they can see the Fortnite shirt. Look, there you go.
There you go.
He's standing it more than I am. Jeez. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Good. All right is what I like to hear. It's what I like to see. So what did you get up to on your day off, John? You made a video, didn't you?
Yeah. That pretty much spent the whole day making a video because it's not a day off, Ben, is it?
Well, no, it's not a day off.
Well, it's not a day off for me.
We don't take days off, do we, John?
Well, I don't know. No, we don't, because Tuesday is our production day.
Yes, it's our production day, and also we've been planning a new production that will come out on New Year's Eve. We have a video coming out looking at the year and looking at the top news of the year. We're just in the planning stage at the moment. It's going to involve all three of us and a lot of recording and a lot of editing. It's going to be good, I think.
I would hope so.
I would hope so as well, because a lot of work's going into it, so you better appreciate it.
You better, or else we'll send the boys round.
Yeah, even if it's an absolute load of shite, you're going to tell us how good it is. That's what you're going to do. You're going to lie to us. You're going to stroke our egos.
Because we like to be stroked.
Yeah. Shalini says, okay, so New Year's Eve won't be live. Now, I didn't say that, did I? I didn't say that.
Well, when's New Year's Eve? That's Saturday. We don't do a show on a Saturday.
You might not, but I might.
If I can do it in your own channel, mate.
It just depends if they would like me to sing the Maud Lang sign, really.
Oh my God.
I could dress up as Rod Stewart, John.
You know what? You say we don't take a day off, right? Maybe we should take a fucking day off, because that's what Saturday and Sunday's meant to be. It's meant to be days off.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
No, don't. But you're going to disregard me.
Because I get bored.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you work. Or it doesn't mean you go live and make other people bored. Because the secret is to put out quality, not quantity.
Do you think that if I go live on New Year's Eve, I'm going to be doing anything like normal? You're
not going to be doing quality, that's for sure.
I always do quality, John.
Sure you do. Everything
that comes from me comes from the heart.
Anyway,
it's quality, it's not quantity.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this episode 180 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben, the purveyor of quality.
Christmas tree is definitely coming down. I don't know if it's on fire, but it's definitely coming down. Shalini says in the chat, "Oh, Grumpy Pants John, well, it's definitely blowing a gale here in London." Well, if he wasn't a Grumpy Pants, it wouldn't work.
What the fuck do they want? I mean, what do they want? They want me to be happy and sweetness and light all the time? Or they want me to fucking call it as is? Do you want realism or not? If you don't want realism, go and watch the cartoons. That's what to do.
I'm drinking Coca-Cola Zero Sugar with cherry and I feel dirty.
That's in the list.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel dirty drinking this stuff.
You're fucked. And speaking of being fucked, do you think Piers Morgan wants to?
Well, you never know. Look at this.
I don't know. He said he's been hacked. Do you think he maybe just had too much of the old sauce and thought, I do like a bit of Andrew Tate? Because he's had him on a couple of times.
He has had him on a couple of times. Piers Morgan has indeed been hacked. Well, he says he's been hacked.
Allegedly.
His account started tweeting things in the middle of the night, renamed itself LOL. And do you have any other screenshots, or do you just have the one?
I've just got the one. I think one's sufficient.
Yeah. Because he went on to tweet a series of racial slurs. He went on to tweet some very, very offensive things. Now, we can't say it was him. It came from his account. Absolutely. But he's gone pretty silent since then. His account's got no profile picture. He's It's interesting. It's interesting. Do you think he was hacked, or do you think he was on the old source? What do you think?
I think he probably was hacked, or he lent his phone to someone and they just went nuts with it. That's happened in the past.
Maybe it was his son.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been.
Imagine Spencer sitting there going.
Speaking of things that are offensive.
Oh, I like things that are offensive, John.
Well, do you like Jacob Rees-Mogg?
I don't know. No.
You know, I mean, right. Let's be honest here. We have said from the word go,
Yeah.
especially me, that the Tory party is unelectable with Roland Rat at the helm, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've been proven correct in the polls.
Yeah.
Because they've gone from bad, which was like 38% or something, down to like 22% or something crazy.
Yeah, they're fucked.
I mean, they're completely fucked. They cannot be elected with Roland Rat at the helm. It just won't work, okay?
No,
and I can understand why, because the man is completely divorced from reality. He doesn't have any concept of how real people live and what real people want. He didn't even fucking wish us a Merry Christmas.
Now that's weird for him, because isn't he like uber Christian? He's Catholic.
He's a Hindu.
Oh no, not Rishi Sunak. I'm talking about Jacob Rees-Mogg.
No, I'm talking about Sunak.
Okay.
He didn't even wish us a Merry Christmas.
No, he didn't, but he did call some people up and wish them a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
On the phone, and then put it out as a self-promotional video. He did do that.
Yeah, and then he went to a fucking, what do you call it, homeless shelter or something, or some sort of food aid thing.
Yeah.
And then stood there like a complete and utter dick and made a complete and utter fool of himself because he is completely divorced from reality and he doesn't understand what it means to be homeless.
No.
I mean, the guy's just wanting something to eat and he's questioning him whether he wants to get into finance and banking.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, sure, Rishi. Just give me my fucking dinner and let me have it. And shut your gobby, shite-faced, rat-like annoyance.
I just want me them sausages and hash browns, Rishi. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Pretty much. But let's move to Jacob Rees-Mogg for a minute, right? Because he's very charismatic. He is charismatic. You've got to give him that, right? He's also very intelligent. Now,
he's also posh.
Yeah, but the reason he's very intelligent is because all of these people that have lambasted him for his poshness and for his character and stuff like that, he's taken that and he's created the character and he has run with it big time. He's got his Mogcast and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. And he's taken the criticism that he has received and he has used it to create a character. Now, like all of these politicians, who's genuine? None of them are genuine. You don't know who the real Jacob Rees-Mogg is. You don't know who the real Rishi Sunak is because all you get is the picture that they wish to portray to you, and usually that picture is a load of old tosh. It's a load of shite. But I both love and hate Mogg at the same time, right? Because I like the character. I think the character's fun, but I know it's a character.
I like it when he puts down the Labour Party. He's quite good at that. Yeah, but again, you know, as you say, the man is nothing but a character. He's a generated character, like they all are to a degree. I think probably Sunak's probably more genuine than the rest of them because he genuinely thinks he's a man of the people when he doesn't have a fucking clue.
So Obin1 says, "Don't hold back, John," over on YouTube. John, we've lost your audio.
No, you haven't lost my audio. I've muted myself because of the fucking rain. Because it's been raining here for the last fucking 40 days. In fact, people are building arcs and animals are fighting to be not third in the queue.
And speaking of Scotland, Hamza Useless is in the news, isn't he?
Well, Hamza Useless is well named because he obviously doesn't have the capability of doing anything that anyone, you know, that can make a difference to anywhere.
No.
I mean, 42,000 Scots forced to spend over 12 hours in A&E. Over 12 hours?
But then again, I don't... Right.
Go on, spit it out.
I don't mean to sound like I'm defending this man, because this man, as well as most politicians, are completely indefensible. But is 42,000 Scots spending 12 hours or more in A&E the fault of Humza useless, or is it the fault of the fucking GPs?
Well, ultimately, it's the fault of the government, because it's the government's restrictions that put us in the situation where the GPs didn't need to work and now don't want to work. And that's exactly whose fault it is. It's the fucking government's fault. So yes, as part of the government, he is responsible.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I also do think that the GPs hold equal, if not slightly more, responsibility, because they're the ones that took full advantage of their not needing to work, and I'll say that in inverted commas because they'll argue that they did work the entire time. Well, I'll argue you can't diagnose strep throat over a phone, or cancer and stuff like that. But so let's play devil's advocate here and say that they took full advantage of the situation in which they found themselves, and they still have not returned to full normal working hours. And I would say it needs to go even further than return to normal. I think GP surgeries need to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, that doesn't mean a GP has to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you could run on shifts. But I think to solve this A&E problem, the GPs need to get back to work.
Well, the A&E problem is exactly that, because people are going to A&E because doctors won't see them.
Yes.
That's exactly why the A&E is rammed. That's why it's rammed. It's not because there's any more sick people.
You're absolutely right.
It's because doctors won't see them. And when they do see them, they do some stupid diagnosis over the phone and then say, here's some antibiotics for your viral infection, because that always fucking works well, doesn't it?
But the thing is, we need to get a grip on this, because you can have as many health ministers or whatever and you can sack them and blame them as you like, but the problem is ultimately not going to be solved until the GPs start working and working overtime.
I'd say it goes further than that, mate. I think the problem is not going to be solved until the NHS is a viable, properly working and managed organisation, and that's not going to happen with it in its current setup.
No, somebody, I've said this before and I'll say it again, and people hate it when I say this, but somebody dispassionate needs to come in and make major radical reform and changes to the NHS and the way that they spend their money. I mean, I would do it. I would do it dispassionately. Well,
there's something in the list later on that I don't think you're going to have the choice. I don't think you're going to be able to do it, because I don't think it's going to be the NHS for much longer.
I think you're right, but we'll get onto that. But the fact of the matter is, unless somebody is willing to come in and look at this with basically blinkers on, with no emotion, and say, well, this is where they are wasting all of this money, and they are wasting a lot of money. Diversity and inclusion managers, middle management, curators for art collections, pianists for fucking hospital lobbies. These things are costing the NHS money that they shouldn't be spending. The actual art collections themselves, sometimes they're not free. This is money that could be spent on frontline care, frontline services, could also be spent on doing what I just suggested and hiring a whole bunch of GPs to work a second shift in a GP surgery, so that we can get on top of the problem of people in A&E because they can't get to the GP surgery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right.
I am.
No argument there, but plenty of arguments over in Florida.
Let's go for it.
Over the Drag Queen Christmas All Ages Drag Show, which took place yesterday, and has been accused of exposing children to sexually explicit activity, which is a crime in Florida and is being investigated by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations.
Well, there's once again a very nuanced argument about this, isn't there? Because ultimately, Drag Queen Story Hour is a bit of a weird one for me.
Well, right, I can't see any nuance in here at all. I cannot see any benefit to children to going to a story hour because it's a drag queen telling the story.
No, I can't see that.
Where's the benefit for the kid there?
No, I
mean, let's face it. Let's be honest. Kids are confused at the best of times. As I did explain in the last show, when I was 4 or 5, I wanted to be a mouse, right? Now, the thing is, they're confused at the best of times, but you then go and put them in front of a man dressed as a woman, and being overly sexual in a lot of cases when it comes to drag queens, right? And I'm not tarring all drag queens with the same brush, because do you remember we used to have things like, we used to have drag queens on TV and nobody batted an eyelid. Do you remember Dick Emery?
Yeah, and obviously Lily Savage and...
Yeah, well, yeah, even before Lily Savage, there was that old couple, the two old guys that played the two old women, and they used to dress up in tweeds and all that. But, you know, nobody batted an eyelid because it was clean, wholesome fun. Lily Savage was getting a bit... Lily Savage is not safe for kids, but Dick Emery was just...
Dame Edna Everage.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And it was a laugh, right? But what happened? You know when it started going wrong?
When...
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
I never saw that.
Well, that's when it started going wrong, because they were overly sexual drag queens.
Right.
And it's all fucking back to Australia. That's where it all starts. All this shit starts in Australia and then percolates over here eventually.
So, but what I think is that you could do this drag queen story hour and not involve any sexual elements, but I've seen footage after footage after footage. Yeah, but what I'm saying is you couldn't. I mean, we see drag queens in panto, you know, the pantomime dame and stuff like that. We take kids to that.
Well,
we
that's
always
not
have
necessarily
some.
a drag queen. That's a tradition, right? But yeah, that's fine because there's nothing sexual about that, right?
Yeah.
But I still don't see any benefit for children in going to a story hour presented by a drag queen.
No, I agree with you, but what I'm saying is I see no benefit in it, but I also, if it's in the vein of the panto dame, if it's in the vein of, you know, Dame Edna Everage or whatever, good wholesome fun, and it's a bit of comedy, and it's a bit of, you know, it's a bit of a laugh and nothing else, I don't see a problem. But what I do see...
No, I disagree. I do see a problem because as I go back to what I said earlier, kids are confused enough as it is at an early age. And you then go and plump them in front of a guy dressed as a woman telling them a story. Even if there's no sexual content, you're still putting seeds into their tiny little heads and letting it grow. Why? Why bother? You don't need to do that. Just let kids be kids and grow up, you know, before they need to make decisions about what sexuality they are.
So I completely agree with you, by the way. However, also, once again, you kind of have to spread blame for these sorts of things into more than one place, because it's the parents taking their kids to this thing, right? They're making...
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
You know,
I mean, if you're a parent and you take your kids to these things, you've got to question, what the fuck are you thinking? Well, really?
Yeah.
Who are you for? Are you for some kind of virtue signalling, you know, example of how virtuous and good you are and how open and diverse you are, or do you really want to look after your kids? Because you're not fucking looking after your kids.
But the thing is, also, lots of parents aren't looking after their kids at all these days, and that's because of the fact that in most Western societies especially, there's two parents, even one parent can't even be in the house anymore, because we've created a system of living and an economic style where if you don't have two incomes, you know, you're not going to live.
Yeah. Well, what do you think schools were invented for?
Well, babysitting. I
mean, schools were invented to brainwash kids and get them ready for the workplace, right? They even set them up along the same lines as factory floors.
Yep.
You know, with your own little workstation, and you sit there and you do your work, and then you get your regulated breaks and you all do it at the same time. So it's everything is coordinated, and then when you move to the factory, it's the fucking same. It's exactly the same.
And that's why I guarantee you, me, and most of the people watching this did not obey the system at school.
No,
we did not. Because at the end of the day, we're not built for that, and human beings really are not built for that. Well, I don't know.
No,
because...
I think 80% of human beings are built for that. 80%, the 80-20 rule seems to apply, and it seems to apply fairly accurately about almost everything. You know, climate change, vaccines, being anti-whatever, you know, being anti-dog or whatever. There's about 80% of people go along with everything, and 20% will question it. And
Yeah.
from that 20%, I think maybe 10% will still go along with it because they want a quiet life. So you end up with a 10 to 5% outlier who'll actually take action. And that's still enough if your population's big enough. That's still enough to affect change.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people will actually go that bit and take the action. That's the problem.
But anyway, to summarize this news story, Drag Queen Story Hour, I'm not taking my kids.
Yeah.
I think, ultimately parents have got to make their own decisions, but the question would be why I'm not taking my kids. Shall we move on?
Yesterday, I got the Fortnite t-shirt as a Christmas present from my son.
He did, with that TikTok cash. Money. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? To from Andy, Peachy P UK says Bob Marley's grandson dies. Jamaican American reggae artist Joseph Mercer Marley is found dead at the age of 31.
Found dead in a car, right?
Okay.
Nothing around why he's found dead in the car. Nothing around what the cause of death was or anything. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy. I don't know what he's like. I just thought it was... He's died young again. So did his grandfather, didn't he? His grandfather died pretty young.
Oh yeah, it's crying shame at the end of the day when people die that young. They shouldn't die that young, And I guarantee you, his parents are still alive. So no parent is meant to bury their child. So it's
Stephen, is it? Stephen Marley? Anyway, yeah, I think so. Right, okay.
Was that employee leaving?
It wasn't an employee, it was the boss.
Oh, the boss. The boss. Anyway, let's move on to this this tweet here from Texas Deplorable. France has fallen.
He's shown his video of, and it's not France, it's Paris in particular, right? Paris is getting torn apart just now, and it has been ever since that football event when the Moroccans started fighting with the French, and they just seem to have not stopped.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen some video coming out, and it's interesting how once again it's sort of missing from the mainstream media for the most part.
Yeah, because it seems to be continual. It just seems to keep going. I mean, did you see the guy that got ran over the other night?
No.
So Moroccan fans picked on a French car that was flying the French flag.
Right.
And the Moroccans all surrounded the car, and the guy obviously thought, my life's in danger here, put the foot down, drove off, and, well, one of them got run over. And I think he died. And you know what? I don't blame the guy for doing that because he's
I'd have done the same thing, especially if my wife and kids are in the car.
And of course, then the Moroccan fans would all go, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And they're all, you could see them on the video going, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And it's like, for fucking hell, what did you expect to happen?
It's a very good question. I mean, like I say, if I've got my wife and my kids, even my friends in the car, and the car gets surrounded and people start attacking it, the foot's going down because. I've got to protect myself, I've got to protect them, and I've done nothing to provoke this attack except, in my country, flown my country's flag.
Now, speaking of provoking things, this is where you might have to worry about your current consumption.
No, I don't.
Because apparently, artificial sweeteners are behind the spike in sudden deaths. It's cured. We know what the problem is. It's artificial sweeteners.
And so, basically, what you're saying is, I'm absolutely fine because, except for this shit here that I consume when I've pretty much run out.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why you're in trouble now because you're consuming shit. You're consuming artificial sweeteners.
Right now, I've got the good stuff.
You'll actually find, Ben, that most of your products that are high in sugar still contain artificial sweeteners.
Let's have a look.
I'm not sure about Red Bull, but I think most of the Cokes do.
Sucrose, glucose. Let's have a look. No, we're good. Yeah, we're good. No, Coca-Cola itself does not contain artificial sweetener in the red cans, in the good stuff. Neither does Pepsi. But any other brand, the full sugar stuff, yes, you're going to get sweeteners in it. That's why I don't drink it. And so they'll do like Tesco cola, full sugar cola. It's not full sugar. bollocks. Same as like Dr. Pepper, for example. Dr. Pepper, that's why I had the vanilla cherry Dr. Pepper the other day from America, because they don't ram it full of artificial sweeteners. It's just high fructose corn syrup, right?
Do you notice this guy that has collapsed, right?
Mm.
Do you notice he's still got a death grip on his phone?
21st century, folks. 21st century.
I'm taking it with me.
This is my phone. There are many others like it, but
Right.
this one is mine.
So this is getting blamed on Brexit, supply chain issues, right? So the next fleet of armoured ministerial cars will be made in Germany, not Britain, because the British manufacturer is unable to meet requirements. Now, there's a couple of things to unpack here. First of all,
The global supply chain was not destroyed by Brexit. It was destroyed by the fact that we closed down the fucking world.
No. The first thing to unpack is, if people that you have elected to represent you as your representative in Parliament need to be protected by an armoured vehicle, then that's not a democracy. And they are not working for you.
Well, you're kind of right. I mean, I get why they do it.
No, why? Why do they do it?
But they do it because there are always going to be people that would like to take out a head of state or a world leader or stuff like that, even if they are all pie in the sky, which is no such thing. But
well, you know what? If that's the situation, then our society is broken.
What society? Society's a dream.
Yeah, but society is broken because of what government has done. That's the problem. People have been disrupted. They've been torn apart by the continued propaganda that government put out there, by the continued influx of people to this country in an effort to maintain the working population, which isn't really working because all they're doing is lounging about waiting to get benefits. So the question is, who broke the country? It wasn't us.
No, it was the people in charge, and I think that growth.
And that's the problem, because they shouldn't be the people in charge. We should be the people in charge, but we're not, because 80% of us are quite happy to just hand over the reins because we really don't want to do anything. It's like yesterday I put out a tweet that said the government shouldn't be forcing anyone to do anything, right? And someone replies like, so people shouldn't have to drive responsibly, they shouldn't have to you shouldn't have to pay taxes or something like that. And
no
should what?
You shouldn't have to pay taxes.
Well, but they said you shouldn't have to drive responsibly. You shouldn't be able to attack your fellow human, and you shouldn't. And I said, well, that's none of those are functions of government. That's just a police force.
Yeah.
You can have a police force without a government. I mean, there's no need to have a government to have a police force.
No, and whilst I think ruling by referendum is probably tyranny, right, and probably wrong, what we've got now doesn't work.
Better than what we've got just now? That's the question.
Well, is the tyranny of the majority better? Because right now we don't have the tyranny of the majority, because the majority of people did not vote for the Tory party. We have the tyranny of the minority, essentially, right? But is the Tory... I don't think, honestly speaking, there is a system of government that will ever work for everybody. And it's as simple as that. So, human beings, the only way that a system of government could work for everybody is if we go back to that thing where we are programmed to be drones, essentially, from birth, right? We accept it.
Are you talking about communism?
Yeah, well, that's the only way something's going to work for everybody, is that we simply accept that we are not individuals. We don't have individual wants. We don't have individual needs. We don't have, desires, and we don't wish to fulfill those aims. And for the most part, most people quite happy to go along with such a thing, I think. Because, no, I don't like it, but I'll just get along for an easier life. I don't want an easy life. I mean, I do want an easy life. I want to be left alone. But at the end of the day, I want to live my life as I decide. I want to do the things I want to do. And yes, I want to support my family the way I want to support my family. I don't want to be told what to do. And if that's selfish, fine. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm not built to go along. I'm not built to just follow along because someone tells me it's the right thing to do, because it's not. It's not the right thing to do. For you, it might be.
So speaking of going along, what the fuck is Kwanzaa?
Honestly, I don't know.
I've never heard of it before in my life. And then Joe Biden says Happy Kwanzaa. What the fuck does that mean? Has he lost it, or is it an actual thing?
It is an actual thing. I have heard of it. I've heard of
I've never heard of it.
I've heard of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa. But
Kwanzaa. It's a made-up word, surely.
No, it's an actual thing. It's an actual thing. But
well, I'm afraid I'm going to mock you if you support and what would you call celebrate Kwanzaa, because I just fucking can't get my head around that.
Look,
Kwanzaa.
If you do observe Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa from both of us.
Happy Kwanzaa, fuck off. I hope your next shite's a hedgehog. Anyway, carrying on. So exploring biodigital convergence, right?
Right. What does that mean, John?
Canada again.
It just sounds like a word salad put together to seem intelligent.
Well, it seems like it's about sticking things in people so as they can talk to the internet, basically. So it sounds like it is up Elon Musk's street. Yeah. But Canada are into it. Canada's into fucking everything that's wrong in this world.
Yeah.
They really are.
Good old Canada.
And this is the last thing you want.
Now
we come on to the problem with the NHS, because these three companies, which you may or may not have heard of, they are possibly the three most evil corporations in this world.
Of course.
Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street
are
now buying up public utilities.
Oh no.
Now, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are the companies that are really responsible for ESG and all the evils that has bestowed upon the world.
Yes. And
so I can't see any good coming of this.
Well, I can see, right, so I can see why the government selling the public utilities would think there's good coming from it, because they think if we can privatise this industry, then it's one less thing in our hands and innovation can occur, right? That's what they think when they're doing it. That's a naive way to think anyway. But no, you're absolutely right once again, because if massive corporate interests get a hold of basically your way of life, which is what happens when they get a hold of public utilities, they don't innovate. They don't make it better for you. They just simply now have an extra way to control what you do. And it should terrify people. It really should. It should terrify you, John.
Speaking of terrifying people, the latest group of the antis are now the anti-chippers. Apparently we're paranoid, don't believe in science, and have white supremacist tendencies. And most importantly, they want you to know that microchip implants are super duper scary. Yes, they are.
They're not just super duper scary, they're super duper fucking pointless.
Yeah. So it's like they just keep throwing shit at you, don't they? And they're going to keep throwing shit until something sticks, aren't they?
But the thing is, they start using these terms, anti-this, if they're trying to make the general public believe that thing, as in inserting microchips into your body, is the norm and the status quo. So
yeah, no, because you remember, like earlier on last year, they started going on about that Swedish thing where the guys had put the chip in their fingers to open doors and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
And when you dug into it, I mean, it was like, oh, the Swedes have been doing this. And yeah, when you dug into it, it wasn't anything to do with vaccine passports or anything like that, right?
No.
It was a study that they did in 2016, and only 6,000 Swedes have ever had it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of them maybe still use it, but it's not. I mean, there's 11 million people stay in Sweden, and only 6,000 have got this chip.
That's pretty low odds, to be honest. But I'm not anti-chipping, John. First of all, right? Because I don't think chipping is the status quo. I don't think it is normal. And also, I'm a big believer in freedom. And if you want to go and bloody augment your body with some stupid newfangled technology that might take control of you and turn you into Skynet, go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. Right. So even China is relaxing its restrictions on travel for visitors.
Yeah.
Before the US.
I believe you can already arrive in Hong Kong, can't you?
Yes. In Hong Kong you can arrive now without having any kind of treatment. But China's going to end its unvaccinated travel ban on January the 8th. I think the US one is set to run until the 13th at least. At least, and they might well continue it. So God knows what's going to happen in America. I mean, why? And in fact, the Americans are now thinking about imposing. Oh no, someone was on Twitter saying, should we be imposing restrictions on people from China? Because we don't want this again. Right, hold on a minute, people. China is suffering an outbreak.
It is.
For one simple reason.
Because they restricted for so fucking long.
Yeah, you cannot delay the inevitable. Well, you can only delay the inevitable. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
And China's in the situation it's in now, that Australia's in, that New Zealand's in, because they tried to stop the inevitable.
Yeah.
And if you're going to lock people up in their houses and whatever for a year, then you're going to get an outbreak of anything because nobody's got an immune system left. So, I mean, China's just catching up.
Basic reality there, John.
Basic reality. You don't need to be a epidemiologist to work that one out.
And the reason is, and the reason they're opening up, the reason they've already opened up Hong Kong, the reason they're opening up mainland China is because they've realised that their economy is fucked. They can only fudge the numbers for so long, and China do fudge their economic numbers yearly. And they seem to post economic growth of 13% roughly every single year. No, they don't. Right?
Yeah,
they don't grow.
So bearing in mind what we just said, right? The next slide says COVID wave sparks panic across China. Hospitals full of cremations can't keep up with demand. Well, why then are they dropping all the restrictions for travel?
Because they are about to go bust.
Because they know it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, China, where compliance for everything is in the high 90s.
Yeah.
Okay? These restrictions haven't made... Well, they have made a difference. All they've done is delay the inevitable.
Delay. You remember the Wuhan pool party, John? They were like, we're free! We're free!
Yeah.
Wuhan pool party! Woo!
That didn't last long, did it?
No. I mean, that was quite a funny image, and it really pissed people off. Let's move to a tweet from our friend of the show, Latimer Alda. What does he say here for us, John?
Well, Latimer, he can't understand why people want to fight global warming to ensure the ice ages come back to their homelands every year to kill them. Well, the thing is, Latimer and I disagree slightly on this point because in real terms, there's hardly any warming at all.
Yeah,
right?
in real terms, absolutely.
Terms. Especially over the last 40 years. It's been just paused. And I think that most of your warming is purely natural and nothing to do with human emissions, and that is just my personal opinion.
Right.
Because if you actually track CO2 output against temperature, you'll find that the temperature drives the amount of CO2 and not the other way around.
Yeah.
So Latimer thinks there is global warming to a degree, a very slight degree, and doesn't see a big problem with it if it rises by a degree or so in the next century or whatever, because it should just make things a bit better. And I mean, you can see his point, because between where I live and where Latimer lives, there's on average a 4-degree difference at any point in the year.
Right.
It's 4 degrees cooler here than it is in where Latimer lives, right? Now, the question is, if it was 4 degrees cooler here and 1 degree warmer than it used to be, it would be the same where Latimer is, right? And would that kill him? Would that 1 degree kill him?
Well, considering I live in that general region,
I don't think so.
It's usually quite cold and rainy here, to be honest.
Yeah. So on average, a 1 degree rise isn't going to kill you. If the CO2 increases, then you're going to get a greener planet, which we've already seen from NASA's own data, NASA and NOAA. The planet is greening because there is more CO2 in the atmosphere, because CO2 is plant food. But on the other hand, if it gets really, really cold, then people die, and that's unfortunately what happened in the US this week.
Yeah.
And it only took a week to kill 55 people.
Yeah, and it sucks. It really does suck.
In fact, it probably only took a couple of days, right? Because they had what they call one of these cold bombs, where the air spills, the jet stream dipped really low, and all the cold air from the Arctic came down over the continent of North America, and the place just went from 14 degrees to minus 14 or minus 40 in some places. So 28 dead in Buffalo and 55 killed nationally, as the US blanketed with snow from the Rio Grande in the south to the Great Lakes in the north.
And
so there you go.
But the thing is,
cold kills quicker than heat.
And ultimately, I don't think making everybody cold by making us less affluent and less able to heat and generate and power our homes via these net zero demands, it's going to make anything any better.
No, it hasn't.
So let's move on to that's this headline is bait. This is bait, right? What have we got here?
Well, it says that they have an application from a company that will allow them to intentionally release a GMO vaccine consisting of live bacteria into Queensland through chemtrails. Right? I would need to do a lot more digging.
Well, yeah, because that's such a thing I think it breaks so many laws, it's unreal.
Yeah, but the first point is, I thought chemtrails were a conspiracy. I thought they were just a conspiracy. Oh, I need to find it. I should have had it queued.
What?
Yeah, that's it.
Chemtrails.
Sorry, I thought it was a conspiracy. Anyway,
let's move on. Before the YouTube gods have a go at us.
Yeah, so this guy goes, the noise of this yoke, I think he's talking about this plane, even a few miles out to sea passing the house. What military has Antonovs over this part of Europe? Okay.
Yep.
And I think the answer is quite self-evident. Because what was it that crashed on the way to the Middle East full of arms from Ukrainium? I think this is just another arms shipment.
You think it's another Ukrainian arms shipment, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
You know what? Very, very, very high possibility. High possibility.
Yeah, I think they're selling them as quick as they can get them.
Yeah, the date. So Natasha points out that go back to the last slide.
Yeah.
The date is 1st of July 2018 on that story. So thank you for pointing that out, because I can see it. It's on the screen.
Why can't I see the date?
It says right here, 1st of July 2018, directly under the headline. And then someone, but then once again, this kind of
the chemtrails one.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry, I thought we were talking about the plane.
But that kind of
Yeah,
leads
okay,
into
but-
biasy, doesn't it? People's biases, because this person tweets it, says, "Here we go." And then
Yeah, I
it
know.
becomes something else altogether, because something from over 4 years ago, "Here we go." Well, it obviously hasn't gone, has it?
No, well, obviously it hasn't, or maybe it has. The question is, that wasn't the main point of my thrust. Was I thought chemtrails were a conspiracy. Damn you!
Chemtrails.
Let's move on,
Let's
shall
move
we?
on. Now,
And we
NASA
go to
here.
NASA.
Never a straight answer. Right. This year, we partnered with industry, academia, and other government agencies in a series of 10 tabletop exercises. Now, you know what happens after tabletop exercises, don't you? Fucking disaster.
World shutdowns,
Anyway.
global shutdowns happen after
Yeah.
tabletop end of it. Yeah.
To map out how electric air taxis, that doesn't sound very fucking safe, will fit safely into the national airspace.
I got an answer for you. You didn't need to do the tabletop exercises. They won't.
They won't.
They
But
won't.
the point I'm getting here is this is NASA, right? Whose fucking highlight of the year was crashing a spaceship into an asteroid.
And not being able to launch a rocket repeatedly.
Yeah, but that's their fucking highlight of the year. Deliberately crashing a spacecraft into an asteroid. And yet you go to these clowns for safety? Yeah. What?
Put a pin in that.
Okay. So apparently Paris is becoming a 15-minute city as well. So everybody's now jumping on the bandwagon. We're all going to become 15-minute cities.
I'm not going to live in a 15-minute city. I might technically end up living in like a 15-minute town or a 15-minute city, but I won't be.
I won't be constrained by
No,
your...
I won't. Where everything you need is within a 15-minute radius on foot or bike to keep you in your box.
You
Do
don't
you-
know what I need.
Do you want to stay in your box, John?
No, I will not be constrained by your arbitrary rules.
Do you want to...
I am a free man. I am not a number.
Okay, number 6, calm down.
So Ireland, and I apologise for any Irish people out there, but Ireland pretty much has always been the laughingstock of the world. So now, while they can't sell peat to their own people, they can still export it to Japan and Australia. So now, if you're Irish and you're not allowed to buy peat
Or turf.
to heat, well, it means peat. It doesn't mean turf, right?
Yeah.
So they're talking about peat, and you're not allowed to buy it to heat your house because that's a bad thing according to the
No,
EU.
No. You cannot... Look, it doesn't matter the reasons why. The reasons why are completely nebulous. They're completely... They just make those up.
Yeah,
What it
they're
is
arbitrary.
just
Yeah.
another mechanism of control.
Yeah.
It's nothing more. And people need to realise this. And take heed and take inspiration from the Dutch farmers.
Indeed. And meanwhile, while you're not heating your house with peat, and all the wind turbines are frozen solid and the solar panels have got snow and ice on them, how are you making power?
You're not, John.
Yeah, well, you're using gas, coal, and nuclear, aren't you?
Yeah, but otherwise
pretty
you're
much-
not.
What we should be stuck with.
Basically, any...
I meant to say, do you remember the fusion experiment?
last week.
Yeah. Do you remember the headline? We got more out than we put in.
It was bollocks, wasn't it?
Oh, it was complete and utter fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
Because you know how much they got out? It was something like 3.25 megajoules, right?
Right.
Okay. And they said they put something like 2.1 megajoules into the laser. right? But you know how much energy they had to use to make that 2.1 megajoules that went into the laser?
Yeah, it was significantly more, wasn't it?
300 megajoules. 300 for 1/30th of a billionth of a second. That's what they got. What a piece of pish.
Well, it's all pish, isn't it? At the end of the day, we are going to need fossil fuels, and all of these people that screech and scream about all this Green New Deal claptrap need to just shut their mouths, go away, and fade into existence, because all their shit will do is kill people. It will kill people.
Yeah.
It will impoverish people. It will kill people. And
yet the UN are still pushing her.
Yeah, because, you know, ultimately, and this is going into the conspiracy realm, these are organisations that really would like to see the global population reduce.
Yeah, why? I don't understand. But anyway, so UN Geneva is pushing Greta again.
Yep.
So even though she's not that young, she's certainly not fearless. And what kind of action is she taking other than expending loads of carbon flying about the world? Not that it bothers me, because it doesn't make any fucking difference. I mean, human emissions is like this on the grand scale of things. And our emissions are like a teeny fraction compared to China's. But it doesn't matter, people. It really doesn't matter.
No, you're absolutely right. And
and you know who else thinks it doesn't matter?
Before we do move on, all Greta Thunberg is a child who skipped school. She has no idea what she's talking about. She's a child that skipped school and has been used by people more powerful than herself to essentially be their propaganda mouthpiece. She's got no idea what she's talking about. She's not a doctor. She's not a scientist. She's not a climate expert. She's none of this. She is a child who lacks an education. That's all she is.
She's not a child anymore. But she's nearly 20, remember?
But still.
20.
Okay, so she's a 20-year-old woman who lacks an education. Yeah. That's all she is. And that's all she will ever be in real terms, right? Yeah. But we don't look at these people in real terms, because she's been put up on this massive pedestal, Saint Greta. She knows all. She can solve all. She can cure all. She knows fucking nothing. Nothing. And that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. I've probably got more climate science education than she does.
Okay. Join your Andrew there and trolling all then.
Yeah, I did see that tweet.
It's like he sent her a series of tweets in which he mocked the climate activist and her green agenda by showing his vast collection of cars with their massive engines.
I'd like to have a conversation with Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should have a conversation with Andrew Tate.
I think we should approach Andrew Tate for a conversation. And, you know, straight up front, I would tell him, Andrew, you're an arsehole. But sometimes...
And we can't afford to pay you.
We can't afford to pay you any money. Don't be stupid. I said, Andrew, you are an arsehole, but sometimes the world needs an arsehole.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
Because if you didn't have an arsehole, all that shit would build up and we would have nowhere to go.
Well, exactly. But he's such a tough nut to crack, is Andrew Tate, because I think that there's a lot he's not telling the world, especially about his own personal circumstances. And I'll something I might get into at some point at another time. But
you mean it's a cult?
No. Like I say, something I don't want to divulge right now, okay. But something that doesn't sit quite right, but still, the things he says and the way he says them are said purposely in that way by him to get attention, to garner attention, but ultimately a lot of what he says rings true. Ultimately it does. And if you know, banks are cancelling his and his brother's accounts because they say some inflammatory shit on the internet, you know that they're probably in the right ballpark.
Well, yeah. When people start cancelling you, you know you're doing things right.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to...
Who says Russians don't have a sense of humour? I thought that was quite funny. For snow removal in the northeast US, please consider this young entrepreneur. Despite shoveling kilos of snow daily, he's quite successful. Right, and you've all seen this H carry on, haven't you? H blocked me. H did this. H blocked me.
I am blocked by
me.
H.
Yeah. So have you checked? Are you on a list?
I must be on a list somewhere.
No, have you checked though? Check and see if you're on a list.
I know my accounts aren't on any lists because anytime someone puts me on a list, I block them, and then that instantly removes you from the list.
Yeah, it does. But have you checked to see if you're on a list? Because you can't block that many people without... How did he block? He must have blocked a list.
So he's using an external block list. So it's a list that's not within Twitter, right? So he's using from what he said, he's blocking transphobes.
Yeah, well, his follower count has gone from 307,000 to 99,000.
Well done, H. I mean, I would be more concerned about my name being Ian Watkins, but...
Yeah, I know.
You know, well done, H, well done.
And that actually brings us quite nicely to the last slide, and we take this as a moment of remembrance.
A moment of reflection.
A reflection, and just consider where this young man could be today if his life had not been so cruelly cut short.
George. I'll tell you where he would probably be. In prison.
Yeah, I think so.
Because people don't like people admitting this truth, but it is a truth, right? George Floyd was a violent criminal who held up, I believe, a loaded gun to a pregnant woman's stomach.
He did, yes.
And
but these are facts that one doesn't like to point out.
They're inconvenient truths. And now am I saying he should be dead? No, I won't say that, right?
Why would you even say that?
But, you know, at the end of the day, he was not on course to be an astronaut, doctor, general, teacher, scientist, anything of the sort.
No, his life path was on a self-destructive and unfruitful and unproductive path, I would say.
Yeah, but not just self-destructive, destructive of the people around him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, George Floyd, you know, he might have started... Everybody starts life good, I guess, because I guess bad things, evil, all of that, it's a learned behaviour to an extent, but he's left a legacy that has done nothing to assist in any kind of relationship between people of this world. Yeah, and I'm sorry if what we're saying offends people. It is the absolute truth. He chose to go down the roads and the paths that he went down. He chose to put that gun to that woman's stomach. He chose to take all them drugs and commit all them crimes. He chose to do that. Now, once again, should he be dead? I'm not going to say that, but he should be. He should have been incarcerated, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So there we go.
That was quite a dampener. That was quite a down. Usually we end on a high.
Yeah, but
St. Floyd.
St. Floyd. Well, we started with a funny.
We did. Piers Morgan loves to gobble.
Piers Morgan is funny.
Piers Morgan. It's his life. We were talking about this last night. His life has kind of come full circle, hasn't it? Being the man that was certainly at the helm of the News of the World's phone hacking.
I think directly responsible for the News of the World's phone hacking.
Now
he carried the can for it.
There are certain things that you can't accuse him of because he'll sue you. But still,
sue away, old boy. Sue away.
Shalini says, "Here's a high."
He was in charge. The phone hacking occurred. The buck stops at the top.
Shalini says, here's a hi, it's my birthday Friday. Wahoo!
Woo!
Happy birthday to you. Well, we'll sing that to you during All In, I guess. Should we make Adam sing her happy birthday on Friday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
If he turns up.
If he turns up.
Yeah, I haven't seen Adam all week.
I know
Stop pretending to be ill.
Well, I know he was watching on Twitter. I saw he was watching on Twitter. Let me just check, see if anybody is watching on Twitter. I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Because this is
right,
the first...
Anyway, we can look after. So, I would like to thank everyone for attending this, episode 180 of Chasing Dissent Live, with me, your host, John, and Ben. And it's good night from us, and it's been great.
For you.
For you.
Christmas, all the Christmas trees on fire. Santa's holding the lighter. My parents are both liars. I got gifts but one subscribers. Thanks for the candy basket. Oh God, another jacket. My stocking's filled with acid. Am I dreaming? What just happened?